Newt Gingrich has received significant flack for calling, not enough flack for calling Obama the food stamp president. There's a JR found a PolitiFact determining whether Newt told the truth when he said more people have been put on food stamps by Barack Obama than any president in American history. He said this today at he said this on Monday, January 16th, at one of the earlier South Carolina debates. So the question is that true? Now, PolitiFact has come out with we'll jump right to the end, which they decide that it's half true. I think PolitiFact is full of crap. I mean, by determining that it's half true, at least take that with a grain of salt. PolitiFact, I think, gives some substantiation to what Newt Gingrich is saying, which is at its core incredibly dishonest. And that's what happens when you misinterpret and misuse statistics, is that, yeah, technically you've found something that might be correct, but you have disregarded the truth. That's why I think it's unfair to call it a half-truth. So for the most recent data available, October of 2011, 46.2 million people received SNAP benefits. SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It's what many people still call food stamps. So 46.2 million people received SNAP benefits, down slightly from the month before, September of 11, where 46.3 million received it. But those 2 months were the highest in history. The trend line shows consistent increases in the number of Americans receiving SNAP benefits, 30.8 million in October of 2008, 37 in 2009, 43.2 October of 2010. It has risen every year since 2007. Of course, we should point out that there was a different president in 2007 and in 2008 when the economic crisis hit, suggesting that maybe the increase in SNAP benefits was twofold. One, the recession, and that's obviously what we're seeing. And then secondly, an effort in 2007 by the government to get people who are eligible to apply, to let people know, hey, you're eligible for these benefits, you should go get them. Clearly, the rise in food stamps is a direct consequence of the most recent recession, which began more than a year before Obama took office. They do point that out. And also, regarding any recovery, which we may be seeing some sort of recovery, don't expect the numbers to go down significantly before November of 2012. There's typically a lag time before an upturn in the broader economy, so you won't see the food stamp numbers come down right away. The previous high from 1994, when we had the highest numbers, came following a recession that ended in mid-1991. So even though times were good, the number increased and we didn't start to see the decline until 1994. And that recession, of course, as we all know, much milder. And the changes produced consistent increases in the, who cares about that? So anyway, the notion, though, that Barack Obama is the food stamp president and has presided over this, and the implication from Newt Gingrich that Barack Obama and his policies are the cause of this, well, that's just frankly 100% not true. So I'm a little irritated at PolitiFact for pointing out that it's a half-truth, although in their explanation of giving it a half-truth, they point out the correct information, and then they don't seem to have the guts at the end to call it non-true. So here's when you say something that's half true, it's basically not true. So let's go with that.
Well, that's one of the things I think about it. Also, just you can tell from the way things are framed, the way things are put, what the agenda is, at least what the the goal is. We all know what he's shooting at, and which we're going to talk about in a second when we talk about Clyburn. But just the fact that it's been called SNAP for years and no one really knows that. It's because there's more of a derogatory term. Everyone knows about terminology. Everybody knows what Newt Gingrich is doing to try and win an election, or at least win the primary at this point. It's all about terminology, so he knows what he's doing. This isn't just a mistake. Nothing is just unplanned when it comes to this level of campaigning.
Yeah, you don't appeal to the same voters. You don't have the same sort of undeniably racist connection if you say that under Barack Obama, we've seen the largest increase of SNAP benefits in American history. Yeah, no, that's of course. He's going to continue to use the term food stamps, which, by the way, I'll be honest, I didn't know they were called SNAP.
You could probably do a poll. I bet you 10% of people knew they were called SNAP. Just general population. Of course, maybe people in office know, of course, because they have to. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure Newt Gingrich knows. But he doesn't care, and that's not where his bread is not buttered by appealing to voters by saying Barack Obama has presided over an increase in SNAP beneficiaries. He actually, when appearing yesterday on CNN's State of the Union, suggests that you want to call me racist? No, liberals are behind racism in America. Let's start with number 3. Here's Newt Gingrich.
Well, I think it's unfortunate that liberal leaders, whatever their ethnic background, Can't have an honest, open debate about policies that fail. Do you want a paycheck president, in which case my years in office, first with Reagan and then as Speaker, combined 27 million jobs created by the American people in those two periods as a pretty good test? Or do you want a food stamp president? President Obama's policies consistently kill jobs. He just killed jobs again on the Keystone Pipeline decision. And liberals shouldn't get away with hiding from the consequence of their bad policies by yelling racism.
Yeah, we don't yell racism unless you do things that are racist. And that is. And not calling it on it because we're afraid that you're then going to cry that we're calling racism is BS. That's it. You're appealing to racists. That's a racist move, Newt Gingrich, and there's no doubt about it. Well, there's obviously some doubt about it, but those who doubt it aren't paying attention, and they're not paying it, and they're certainly not familiar with what lines like that, with what the code behind calling Barack Obama, who's black, the food stamp president means. And he's got one friend, he's got a black friend, and you know racists, they love to say, "You're talking about I got black friends." Newt's black friend is Alan West, Republican of Florida, who defended Newt on, Alan West was on Fox and Friends, and he defended Newt and the claim that Barack Obama is the food stamp president.
Well, there is no race code. It's a fact. Since President Obama has been in the Oval Office, you've seen a 41% increase in food stamp recipients in the United States of America. So I think that's one of the things we have to look at, is we have a president that is making more Americans victims rather than making them victors.
Making more Americans victim rather than victors. See how I did that? Alan West is a tool and ignorant and not paying attention, and and like Joe Lieberman helping out George Bush, he gives Newt Gingrich an unfortunate out that he doesn't deserve.